Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Sriram V from the Tech Advisor team of HCL Automation Orchestration Suite. What we are looking at today is a transactional banking kind of use case, specifically around cash management. Assume that we have a bank branch, and this bank branch, along with its ATM, needs to order cash. So typically, the bank employee who is doing this out of memory would typically use his past experience to come out with a forecast, which would be completely manual. He would raise a cash requisition request, which could be physical or it could be an online one, where the branch manager would then request cash from the regional vault. It would go through an treasury approval workflow where maybe the treasury branch would approve if it's beyond the branch manager's branch limits. The cash then would be dispatched with a CIT request from a CIT vendor. So a CIT request would be raised. And at the end of the day, the reconciliation of the cash would happen. That is a physical versus the ledger cash. And also the treasury would manage or monitor the total cash positions and do the interbank fund transfers. And finally, the regulatory reporting or the periodic submission would go out to the reserve bank at the end of the day. So this is the typical process that would happen in a manual situation. Now if the same thing is realized in an agentic way, um, the way we'll realize it will each step is replaced by an AI agent. So we have a cash forecasting agent that is going to do the cash forecasting. There's going to be a cash requisition agent that's going to raise a requisition request. Now note that this can also be a deterministic step. We would go through approval workflow where in case the branch manager's approval is beyond what he can approve, go for a treasury approval which can be realized as a human in the loop kind of task. And finally we would also have a CIT request raised and a booking made for the cash van. And also the cash delivery routes would be optimized using the vendors APIs. And finally the reconciliation at the would be done of the vault at the end of the day from the core banking system and the ledger. And the reconciliation will also be done for all the mismatches automatically. And the whole thing is also optimized to identify the real-time cash position, taking into account all the interbank transfers, the investments done the day, and finally the regulatory reports will be sent uh, to the Reserve Bank along with the audit trail of all the records. Now let's look at this in action. So I have a cash forecasting agent or a cash management agent in this case. What I'm going to prompt it is I'm going to ask, I'm going to say that this is my branch ID, this is my ATM location ID, taking all the historical transaction as reference. Can you come back with a cash demand forecast, do the cash requisition, treasury approvals, and come back with the CIT schedules and also do the SLC interface check and manage the reconciliation, liquidity optimization, and also mail the compliance reports. Now, if I am to request in this way, now what this is going to do internally, now I know for a fact here is that there is a workflow that is triggered behind the scenes. So we have a workflow associated with this particular AI agent. Now, as this workflow is running, now this is a specific case where I have the case of the treasury approval being needed as the branch manager's limit is beyond what is allowed. So this is in turn going to raise a human in the loop kind of task. So here you can see that the it exceeds the approval limit of the branch manager. So it goes to the treasury for approval. Assume the treasury branch in this case is going to say approved from treasury side, and it's going to confirm the approval. Now once he does this, what happens in our agent is, of course, the workflow proceeds ahead, and we're going to have the workflow coming back with the results from each of the agents. So we had the first step, which was to do the forecasting. So it has come back with a net cash demand for the next couple of days to be so much. And also there is a suggested load of replenishment which is beyond what is needed. And then there's also a net cash demand again for the next couple of days, along with the suggested load for the ATM as well. We also have further a cash requisition step, wherein the recommended replacement, again, this is similar to the forecast from the previous step. And also then we have the CIT schedule also done. So here we have the pickup scheduled for the branch 21 at 10:15, ATM 112 at 11:05, the replenishment for ATM 47 and branch 001. So this is the route the CIT booking is making. So this is the route it is following. And then we also have details on the reconciliation. So you can see that the Volt report has come out with a figure. There is a deviation, there is a difference of around 5,000 in the Volt report versus the actual value. So there's going to be an auto adjustment step done against this particular GL account for the Volt shortage. So there's an AI reconciliation bot that is also reconciling this amount. And then finally there's also a regulatory compliance agent that's also sending out a report to the Reserve Bank with the total CRR maintained, the total CRR required, the SLR maintained, and the SLR required for, and the regulator submission is done. So we also have the audit trail here. So the whole thing, as you can see, as each agent is invoked, we have the output in plain functional context to the functional user. Now, what could be benefits of realizing it in an agentic way? For a start, as you might have noticed, the forecast accuracy is much more compared to doing it from memory. So there's at least an increased forecast accuracy with the cash forecasting agent. Also, the idle time, now typically the cash idle time would be less than 2 days in this case compared to a 5 days average, which is usually the case with any branch. Also, the branch shortages in this case, uh, it should be less than 1% compared to 10%, which is usually the case. And also, reconciliation in this case would be done in less than 15 minutes a day. And also, the regulatory report turnaround time is near real time here, as the workflow is getting executed. So, you don't need a couple of days to generate a regulatory report. So these are the benefits realized when the whole process is realized in an agentic fashion for cash management. Thank you.